What's going on, Muscle and Strength? Chris Bumstead here, big man Iain Valliere, coach, brother-in-law. We're gonna be running through a workout. He's gonna run it. Big man, you gotta take the advice from the biggest man in the gym. So we're training shoulders, right?
Yeah, we're gonna hit some shoulders today, yeah.
So he's gonna run us through it, and I hope you guys enjoy the workout.
Some good progressive tension just so we can get our shoulders all warmed up, transitioning from off season into prep. You know, the goal obviously, especially when you're trying to hold onto that tissue, is to, you know, keep the weights heavy, keep the strength high, right? I think the only thing I might change as you get farther into prep and the food gets a little lower, maybe the training volume would come down a little bit, just because you don't have the same amount of energy sources in there to support the demand that you're gonna have from that training.
So in order to keep the intensity and the weight high enough, you do less sets with volume. I got pushed in the chest day yesterday, training shoulders today, so I just have really tight pecs right now, so I'm just gonna like try to move and pull it. I don't wanna do any like static stretches, pulling it too long, just like, I normally do it with a band, but all they had was a big wooden stick in this gym. So I'm just kind of trying to open up my chest and my front delts just so they're not too tight.
When I was younger, I mean, I'd start with, you know, like something like 75 is my first set, and I'd do 12, 15, 20 reps, like as if it was a working set.
4 warm-up sets, 12.
Yeah, and then 12 reps, and then by the time you get to what you'd be, say, at the time, if you're doing 100, 110, you're cutting yourself short because you've wasted a ton of energy on those sets leading up. So, like we both just did there, 5, 6, 8 reps, whatever, just to get a feel for the movement, kind of get your movement patterns down, but not so you're exhausting the muscle by any means. So,
I think that's why it's so important to warm up with machines, bands, cables, whatever you feel you need to warm up with, other than just starting with your big movement, and then you're gonna feel like you need to warm up with extra sets or extra reps and everything, which is fatiguing you from that movement, rather than like light band work, cable work, machine work to get warm up first, and then you just get a feel for the weights.
Yeah. Yep, I'm good. Because a lot of people ask me about my split, and I do a bro split, I always have. And people are like, well, why is Chris doing this, and blah, 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 and why you do bro split, but have Chris doing this? I'm like, I didn't pick Chris, like, I don't control the majority of Chris's training. I mean, Chris knows how to train, he knows what feels good for him and what movements he likes and what he's getting the most of at the time.
I mean, I'm a huge advocate of whatever you're gonna follow and adhere to the most, it's just gonna work best for you. I don't think one is better than the other. I wouldn't say one is benefits over the other. When I do push-pull legs, I can focus on the day of I have an overpowering chest and shoulders, whereas kind of like my back and bicep legs. So I focus a lot of my workouts on back and bicep, and triceps more on push day, chest, and a lot less shoulder. So I found that I can kind of finick like that a little bit. And I'm 100% gonna go back to bro split eventually, because I do enjoy training like that. But I think it's whatever you're gonna follow the most, to whatever your legging body parts are getting the most work out of it.
If you aren't aware of what you're lacking in your physique, a push-pull legs can enhance that even more.
Yeah.
Laterals are one of the movements I actually really prefer to do on cables. Biceps would be kind of along with that as well. I just find with dumbbells, you're kind of limited in where the tension curve is where you're not limited with cables. Gonna do some reverse on the pec deck here. A couple sets, and then we might work up and do like a rest pause or a drop set. Some kind of intensifier to finish it off.
You'll see Ian when he's doing that movement, he's not like coming like crazy far back. You see people like, you see some skinny people who hyperextend like fully behind or start moving like really far back. That's when it starts to engage your like mid back and your traps, which is pulling too far back. Your rear delts really only go like that far. Once you start going that far, it's more of a back movement. So don't think about getting a giant range of motion, just think of always feeling all the tension on your rear delt.
So we're gonna do a rest pause. So I'm sure most people are familiar with drop sets. You know, where you start with your maximal load, and then when you fail, you reduce the weight by given percentage, 15, 20, 25%, whatever. So we're doing similar in that you're doing pauses between, but instead you're gonna just be maintaining the same weight and using the brake just to get a few more reps. So say he's doing 200 pounds, so bring that to a failure, rest 15 seconds, then he'll go again with the same weight. So you might only get 5-6 reps to the second bout, rest another 15, 20 seconds, and you go again, might get 2 or 3. So you're just, the point is just that you're using the maximal load you can throughout the entirety of it, instead of dropping the load like you would in a drop set. Partials, whatever you got.
I've become a huge advocate of nose breathing. I think an important, you laugh at this, but it's true. A really important part of breathing is breathing properly and kind of getting your body to relax, get back to a comfort state, and allow you to utilize oxygen a little bit more efficiently. You gotta be doing kind of diaphragm breathing, and we're kind of meant to be breathing through our nose and deep through the diaphragm rather than up and through the chest, super shallow breaths. That's kind of causes more stress and you don't kind of recover as quick. So especially in between these sets, I try and like take deep breaths through my nose, slow my breathing down, and breathe deep down in my belly using your diaphragm. And it just kind of helps you compose yourself and get ready for the next set. Put on the upright row movement. I personally can't go really heavy on these because they start to do a crazy amount of stress.
It's one that you really need to be careful with in terms of not overdoing the load and causing any impingements or injuries in there. So
1 rep max upright row.
Yeah, any pulling movement, like I do lateral raises, upright rows, or any back movement, is to have soft hands. Just like make sure that you're not like squeezing the living piss out of the weights, right? Like if you're gripping this and you're squeezing as hard, your body's gonna wanna use everything in that kind of chain of command. So if you have just a light grip, then you can focus driving from the elbows and not engaging all the other muscles in there that you're not really wanting to train in this movement. So Your grip is just kind of like enough to hold it. I keep my hands very loose, just a soft grip. We already did the cable ones. Like I said, I did prefer those, and that's why we did them at the beginning when we were a little fresher.
Prioritize them.
Yeah, prioritize them. And we're just gonna do a dumbbell one, kind of just like as one of our final movements. And what we'll do is just, you know, kind of in that 10 to 12 range. And then when you get to failure, we're just doing kind of like a straight arm partial, just to fully exhaust the muscle at the end.
So there's a lot of people who kind of have a trouble activating their delt. I even can have done those at the beginning of workouts sometimes. People are like, oh, I do all the lateral raises in the world and I don't get pumped. If you lock your arms with a heavy dumbbell and you're just literally just delt, you can't cheat at all here, it will destroy your delts. That's when you get that like painful pump.
It's also good for people that find they get a lot of trap involvement with movements like that. When you're coming up high, that's when people tend to shrug. So if you're just locking your arms and you're kind of at the bottom half, you're just keeping that tension on it. Like obviously because it is a dumbbell, like we were saying over there, you have a bit of loss of tension at the bottom until you're under the weight with the gravity, but still, when the muscle's at that level of exhaustion, even just moving it from here to here is taxing on the muscle enough. All right guys, so that's it for the shoulder workout. You know, hit the shoulders from kind of a variety of angles, you know, front, lateral, rear, you know, make sure we kind of exhaust them from all angles so you get that nice round, you know, good shape to the delts.
Yeah, I mean, we started off kind of strong, heavy, a few kind of pressing movements, heavier on the cables too, heavy press, and then we kind of taper it off into a little more isolated, kind of slower movement, a little more volume at the end to get a nice balance of it all. So that's a wrap on today's shoulder video. Hope you guys liked the video. Remember to subscribe.